So, the Abominable Snowmen was announced to be animated by Big Finish Creative, the same people behind Galaxy 4, The Web of Fear, and Fury from the Deep. It was announced quite a number of months ago on the birthday of Doctor Who, I think in November last year. It's now towards the end of April, and we've heard nothing. Not a single thing. I have not seen a single person talking about or mention the animation for the Abominable Snowman since its announcement. Where has it gone? Now, this could be due to the news of BBC America supposedly pulling their funding towards these missing episode animations, or it could be some other reason. We genuinely have no idea. I have my ideas, but what I really want to see is what you guys think. So along with this question, why do you think we haven't heard anything more about it after the announcement? I also asked what people think of the upcoming animation. Are you looking forward to it? And why this story would you have preferred something else? So I asked this on Twitter and YouTube, and here's what everyone said. I haven't actually read most of these, so you're going to get my raw first impressions. So we'll start with Twitter, because we've only got 2 responses on there. Dan the Man 2150 AD said, personally very much looking forward to it. Loved the Fury art style, so it's a big plus to see Abominable using it. I imagine they want to hold more details off until it's practically ready to ship out. I agree with the first bit. I'm actually quite fond of the Fury from the Deep art style. It's one of the most creative ones that we've seen. While I don't think it's actually, in terms of quality, as good as some of the others, I'm quite fond of it because it takes some of these creative liberties and it looks different and it has a little bit of a experiment with it, and it's all colourful and nice. The other part of this, holding off details until it's practically ready to ship out, I get that, but I just feel like we would have had something. You know, obviously we've had this with the actual series of Doctor Who where we've basically heard nothing most of the time and the marketing was absolute horse. But, you know, I thought we would hear something, not necessarily from the BBC themselves or anything, but, you know, maybe from Big Finish, I don't know, or Gary Russell, or people working on it. Anything like that. You would have thought we would have heard something in what's been, like, over 5 months. You would have thought we would maybe know what quarter of the year it's coming out in, or something like that. Maybe they were told, get these shots done for the trailer, then you can have, like, a year to actually do it. So maybe they've done that, but at the end of the day, obviously, we've still got 0 details on this, so it could be anything. Jonathan Lum says, I'm really looking forward to it. I love the trailer. The animation looks superb. This story has been one of my faves since I read the book over 40 years ago. A real classic. I've actually got the book on my shelf, ready to read at some point. Maybe I should read it before the animation comes out, so I'm familiar with it, because I've not seen anything else. I've not seen any reconstructions of it either, so I'm actually not familiar with the Abominable Snowmen as a story at all. Obviously, I know it's great intelligence and all that, but yeah, I do think it looks quite good. I think it'd be one of the generally stronger animations, probably better than Fury from the Deep, I'd expect. Anyway, moving on to YouTube, we've got a few more responses on here, so that's nice to see. James Lee says, I like this story, but not really hyped for the animation. I'd have far preferred they do another Hartnell story, perhaps something like The Crusade, which would complete Season 2. Having Galaxy 4, a poor story compared to the recent Troughton ones to be animated, as the only animation from the first Doctor's era, really helps cement the impression that he's not worth watching and isn't a good Doctor. Now, obviously, we do have 2 other Hartnell animations. We've got The 10th Planet and we've got The Reign of Terror. Obviously, The Reign of Terror is genuinely my least favourite animation, but they are there, so there's still 2 others, but I don't think that just because they're not animating Hartnell, I don't think that they're saying that it's that he's not a good Doctor. I think maybe it just so happens that maybe because Troughton was later than Hartnell, they've got better quality stuff and they've got more stuff and they've got more to work with, and also people are familiar with Troughton being animated. Most of the Troughton stories that I know, he's animated in them. That's what I'm familiar with. Like, I'm not too familiar with even classic Who as a whole, but when it comes to Troughton, I see him, yes, in live action and being an amazing character actor, but I also see him in a similar way animated, where a lot of us are familiar with him being animated, so it's just easier to stick to what's going on and not stray too far out of people's comfort zones. The people who are making the animations, they're a lot more familiar with the sound and the feel of Patrick Troughton's era, but that also could be complete bollocks. Luke Van Branderplank actually responded on that comment, says, is that a common misconception? Surely not for people who are already invested enough in classic Who to watch animated reconstructions. There are still plenty of surviving Hartnell episodes that would immediately disprove that. Also, The Crusade is unfortunately just impractical to animate because of how many costumes, sets and characters there are. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention in that comment, like, a lot of the earlier stories, specifically with William Hartnell, are just so much bigger. So you've got the Daleks' Master Plan, and you've got the Crusade and all that stuff that are just way too hard to even start, especially with the BBC budget, and especially now that BBC America have fecked off from all of this. So only time will tell, really. Malden365 says, I think they chose it because they wanted both Yeti stories available to watch. That's a solid option. Just be like, yeah, I mean, that does make sense, especially after they did the Web of Fear. I mean, thank God they're not doing it in that style again. Although, you know, I'm here for the experimentation, but imagine if they decided to do the Abominable Snowmen in the 3D animation style from the Web of Fear, and that be like our last one for a long time. That would have put quite a sour taste in our mouths, I'd expect. That Ironside guy, I hope it looks better than Fury. I am also really skeptical about it, as we haven't heard any news since it was announced. I mean, honestly, anything could be happening. And I'm sure that there's some people, hopefully watching this video, who know something, or who have seen people talking about it. Because for some reason, nothing that I've seen on Twitter, on YouTube, has been said since the announcement. So, for all we know, it's been canned, honestly. And I think there is a genuinely, like, there's a solid 2 to 5% chance that it's just been canned after the announcement of there being no funding, because what could have happened is they're 20-25% into production and BBC America pulls funding, and so no one's getting paid, no one's getting, or at least not as much, and they just decide, well, it's not worth it, so we'll just can it and we just won't say anything. But I guess maybe it would be weird for them not to say anything. So Mark Belsom says, trailer looked pretty good, but I wish they would stay closer to what the story looked like, assuming they have enough photos to use as reference. An update would be nice to find out what's actually been going on with the animations. Have the BBC got funding from another company or not? Yeah, so even if BBC America actually have pulled funding, which we're pretty confident about, have they gotten some other source and which would let them keep going? So, and would that source have more restrictions or less restrictions than the funding that BBC America are giving? So it is completely up in the air. I know I've said that at least 10 times in this video, but thinking about it now, I wouldn't be surprised if it's been thrown into the bin. But I'm pretty sure it will be done sometime, hopefully this year. Mario Bowser 494 says, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Admittedly, I found the story quite mediocre when I watched the reconstruction, so I'm hoping to enjoy it more with the animation. As for the animation style, I haven't disliked any animation besides Reign and Web. I completely agree on that. Reign of Terror and Web of Fear, just no thank you. I will say that I really wish BBC America did one more animation of the Wheel in Space so we can complete season 5 and have every Cyberman story. Would rather that than have Galaxy 4. I would definitely had preferred them to animate the Wheel in Space than Galaxy 4. Obviously we've got that like 10-minute little animation that I think was on the Macra Terror Blu-ray, if I'm not mistaken, of the episode 1, but I guess that's all we're going to get. We've got Luke again from earlier. Not hearing more from something after the whole announcement seems to be Doctor Who's whole marketing strategy these days. But yeah, for all we know, either they've canned future animations forever, or all of the missing episodes have been found and they're just, you know, waiting until the 59th or the 60th anniversary to let us know. But please do let me know what you think is happening with the Abominable Snowmen release. What do you think is going on behind the scenes? Why haven't we heard anything about it since the announcement, or do you think that it's all a lie? I'd also really love to hear what you think is going to happen in the next episode of Doctor Who the Centenary Special, and what you hope to happen, what you want to happen, what you think will happen, how you feel about Jodie Whittaker leaving, how you feel about all these characters returning, Ace and Tegan, and whatever. Whack out your craziest theories for the next episode of Doctor Who, and they just might be chosen to be in an upcoming video. But otherwise, I think I'll say that, in my opinion, they had decided to make the Abominable Snowmen animation just before the announcement. And for some reason, the BBC thought it was a good idea to announce it along with everything else that they were announcing on the anniversary of Doctor Who. Whereas in reality, they should have just left it. And so they're probably still making it easily. I think they were just like, let's make these shots for the trailer, and then let's spend 6 to 12 months, however long they were given, to make this. We could be easily waiting for a November, maybe December release. But besides that, I'm Sam, and I'll see you next time.